Leaders building leaders. Who motivates the motivator? We have a real treat for you today as my nephew Blair Nielsen outlines his leadership story and his work with the Christian organization Leader Impact. We always appreciate your likes and your comments. Now stay tuned for more leadership excellence, because this is a Leadership Radio. Blair, welcome to the program today.
Hi, Gary. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be able to join you today.
Could you maybe just give us a bit of an overview of your own leadership story?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to be in business myself for 15 plus years in a business that was in the oil field industrial sector, and being able to build into other people and impact, using the spheres of influence that business provides for you. It's good. And over the years too, I've been involved with numerous charitable boards and committees, charitable organizations that that adds a different dimension, I think, to leadership than business does. It's the one thing that I think has really contributed to my leadership the most, and maybe my biggest success story is being a husband for 20 years now, and the father of 3 children. So I think that has been the greatest leadership adventure. I think
you and I both have to admit, my dad, your grandpa, was my number one mentor in life.
Yeah.
And of course, your dad, tremendous example of a servant leader.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've seen firsthand the importance of family leadership. That's great that you're carrying it on. What motivated you to take leadership one step further?
Yeah, I feel like I wanted to make a difference, in the little corner of the world that God has put me to. Is like, do whatever I can to contribute to making the world a better place in that. So I view opportunity now to contribute back into developing strong leaders. I think when there's opportunity to build into leaders and do some leadership development and help leaders become the best that they can be, then start to see the trickle-down effect of that. If we can, those who are at the top, become the best version of themselves that they can be, then they start impacting their organizations and their schools and their churches, and and then from there it impacts your families and your neighbors and community. So just it's that idea of if reaching those at the top, and seeing the exponential effects of that on our cultures and community as a whole. And that's how I think we're going to see real change in our culture.
That's excellent, because we hear a lot today about top-down leadership is passé. Top-down leadership is sometimes associated with being autocratic, but really, there is no other model than top-down leadership. It might be servant leadership, it might be democratic, but it still flows from the top down, doesn't it, Blair?
Yeah, it definitely does. Everybody follows somebody, right? And it's just organic, right? And and so everybody's watching you. We're all leaders in some respect, right? And some people have a bigger platform than others, where more people are watching you just organically because of the position you hold.
Right. Absolutely. So what's the greatest needs in your judgment of leadership development?
Leaders of impact, right? Yeah.
Right.
We all want to have the greatest impact that we can. So I think, speaking from maybe personal experience, my chapter in business has closed, but as I was in that, you say, what is the greatest need? For me, it was it's a bit of a big answer, but just the stress and anxiety that the pressures of the world start to bring on us. So I think stress and anxiety right now is it's overwhelming for leaders out there right now. There's so much pressure on us. So coming from so many different directions in this too. So like we're dealing with business struggles and business pressures here, like which we see a lot of in Alberta right now, and
Mm-hmm.
and around the world, just with the pandemic and small businesses being affected and shut down. So like the business struggles, and you're dealing with staff situations. There's conflict in staff, which is stressful.
Right.
There's time restraints. People saying they never have enough time to get things done. There's personal relationships,
Yes.
financial pressures. There's struggles of get into even the more the spiritual side of it. Like what is my purpose here? Even what am I doing here? What's this all for? Right? It's a big answer, maybe, but it was a big question. So it's a big answer.
Well, we don't deal in small questions on leadership radio.
Right.
When you were a leader in business,
Yeah.
and you dealt with that stress on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah.
because you were a leader through good times, but also through bad times. How did you deal with it? And
yeah, well, certainly had to work through a progression on that, myself too, like facing, all those things that I named, the pressures of the stress and anxiety, and it became overwhelming for me in that too. And I think what we tend to do in that situation is we take anxiety or stress whether in one area of our lives, and we shuffle it to the next. We kind of have this model of just reacting to where the stress is and then shifting it to the different areas of our life. And so I think each of us, there's three dimensions or more, but three bigger dimensions of who we are as people. There's our professional lives and our personal lives, and that are family and friends and relationships. And then there's a spiritual side of who we are too, and in the spiritual side is our deepest sense of purpose, why we do what we do, and the thing that really provides meaning to us. So it was a journey for me in that, for sure, learning, moving through that. Certainly you can't say I've got it all figured out, Carrie. There's I mean, we have
well,
to
no, I appreciate your honesty there, Blair, and sort of what you were talking about, shifting, depending on the stresses, you shift your focus and this and that. And it just struck me that balance is something we constantly strive for, but it's sort of a moving point, isn't it? I mean, you have to constantly work at it, because you might achieve it for a moment in time, but then the goalposts move.